Okay, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, thank you for the introduction, and also thank you to the organizers for the invitation. I want to start by making echo of the colleague of Deutsche Telekom. I think it's very, very good for everybody to get back to this normal working methodology. And I consider this also very special because it's a discussion about the future. It's a discussion about 6G. And today, I would like to present our views on how 6G technology power use cases beyond the things we can have now with 5G and with this evolution. I think I forgot that. All right, so I would like to start saying that for us it's time, or we see that we can talk about adoption. So today, vehicular connectivity is something becoming very, very standard in our industry. And in a very close future, it's something that is not going to be considered anymore as nice to have. So in general terms, for us, 6G technology is a technology that will enable a massive, continuous, and reliable transfer of information between vehicles, road users, infrastructure, and services in the cloud. I think it is also important here to mention that the increasing engagement of the verticals in the standardization of mobile broadband. This is something we have seen with 5G, but it will be definitely stronger in 6G. And particularly for us in the automotive industry, this is quite sure because we consider V2X as one of the biggest killer applications of mobile broadband, and of mobile broadband it will be also in the future. But before talking about the future, I would like to give just a little bit of perspective. So do you know that the first car phone was introduced in 1949, already 75 years ago? And that the first platform for automotive telematics was introduced in 1996. Then Continental, aware of the importance of connectivity in the development of mobility and safety, acquires in 2006 Motorola. And with that, we receive a lot of experience, competence, and know-how. And after that, we have seen several generations of mobile communications with many features like stolen vehicles, tracking, and V2X. And this is a technology we believe in, and that is why we have successfully launched platforms, telematic platforms with 3G, 4G, and 5G capabilities. And today, we are looking forward to 6G and now preparing the corresponding research. In this preparation for 6G, actually, we are consolidating our portfolio with products covering major functions in automotive: communications, sensing, and computing. And I think it is important to say, as you have already mentioned in previous presentation, these three paradigms are expected to converge in 6G, or at least be tightly integrated. I always use this graph, I like it very much, and it shows how the safety technology has helped in reducing the fatalities on the road. As you can see there, even though the increasing number of vehicles and passengers, the safety technology has succeeded in drastically reducing the number of accidents that we have saved a lot of lives. But we are not happy. Our vision is to have 0 fatalities, 0 injuries, 0 crashes. And we are confident we are going to realize this. And not only that, also our vision of smart mobility with things that you can see and infer in the chart. And we see 5G as a very good starting point. But definitely, our understanding is that 6G will be, in some colloquial words, the cherry over the ice cream. And finally, we as a global player, we think that the safety technology should be available to everybody and as soon as possible. And with this in mind, we have developed holistically products that incorporates all technology components that makes the benefits of P2X, this life-saving benefits of P2X available around the globe in all the countries. So now I will talk about the use cases and what do we expect from 6G. So this is a little bit the interesting part. And I have to start with mobileless computing, which is something very, very trendy today. Recently, weeks ago, in the last ITS conference in Hamburg, we present together with the colleagues of Deutsche Telekom our solution to protect vulnerable road users, right? And this is a very key technology also for smart intersections that is very well justified from technology point of view because we expect a very huge density of radio access points that could leave us to leverage the benefit of edge computing. There is also a view on our side that use artificial intelligence to help in flexibly balance the task between the mobile nodes, the network, the edge nodes, and the network. From the interoperability point of view, there are also some challenges, especially the interworking between operators with this technology that has different MEC capabilities and different MEC technologies, and also, for example, how to integrate even virtual operators into this, because safety should be transparently available to everybody. And finally, the deployment is also a little bit, of course, interesting because it requires some investment at the beginning. So it has some cost because the power consumption is very high. You need the space. Security is very special in this particular context. And I think that the configuration of all the locations that you need to manage cannot be longer done in a manual manner. So it has to be very dynamically configured. So mobileless computing is something we believe. The other direction is the integration of terrestrial and non-terrestrial components, right? So people have talked about this here. So I just want to say that we have already this in 5G, but it is very clear, and many people have the feeling that the sort of from scratch design, very native inbuilt integration will happen in 6G. And this, for us, will be very helpful in supporting use cases where we need capacity, availability, reliability at a global scale, right? So this is another interesting direction. Mobility, what to say? Mobility is the main advantage of wireless communications. And it is well known that providing reliability and high data rates when the relative speed between transmitter and receivers is very high is something very, very difficult, not talking when we try to operate at high frequencies. So 5G already is a step forward, has many advances in this direction, and we are now about to agree on working more on this direction in release 18. But the real robustness is expected with 6G, perhaps with new waveforms and other specialized channels to support really high mobility. IoT, of course, is something everybody knows. It's very important, also for automotive. Here, we not only look at this from the expected enhancements in terms of the KPIs, so what you have said, power efficiency, connection density, range or coverage, but we have to pay attention and also look at this a little bit from a different perspective, from an autonomous connectivity point of view, where we see the IoT sensors in the vehicles with the possibility to directly connect to the cloud or to the back end. In some cases, we can then offload some traffic from the mobile network, and in many cases, this will also provide certain transparency in the deployment of the services. Intravehicle communications is another paradigm that has been in our industry for a while. I was expecting to listen to this something in the previous project. And here the idea is to differentiate between the car-centric data and the user-centric data. And Of course, one possibility is connect different electronic control units wirelessly or distributed antenna systems, which is something very trendy in automotive, why not? And also in the cabin, provide very high data rate connectivity to the passengers using millimeter wave in and out. So intravehicle communication is another key direction for us. Software-defined vehicle, I'm very sure you have heard this term, is without a doubt something very strong these days. And without going into very technical details, a little bit the combination of high-performance computing, the orchestration between the different control units, the deeply integrated artificial intelligence functions, and the expected massive connectivity between the vehicles create several opportunities that should be considered in the design of 6G. Right? It's something very much from automotive, but I think it will be very nice to have in 6G. Cybersecurity, colleagues have already mentioned, of course, is something very important. Besides the fact of expecting enhancements in terms of privacy, reliability, resiliency, etc., I think for us it's important that given the large amount of massive connections and different type of traffic. So for example, in 2032, we see many vehicles in the street with automation level between 4 and 5. And at that point, people will start using autonomous driving, automated driving, and they will be able also to use in-vehicle virtual meeting, things like that. So we will also need, together with ultra-reliable low latency, 6G-based enhanced mobile broadband, right? This is, cybersecurity has to cover in a very good manner these connections. And my last point here is that we also see in many 6G scenarios the vehicles playing a very important role. Here I heard today the so-called digital twins, which for example is an environmental model for intersections. In these kind of scenarios, our vision is that the majority of the data will be collected and delivered by the vehicles. And from this perspective, many scenarios in 6G will be very much vehicle-centric, right? So I think it's something that it is very important because this means that we will have many functions implemented in a very distributed manner, right? So this is another concept or paradigm we see for 6G. And I will conclude with this slide. What else do we need? So one important thing we are observing is the spectrum. It's very important that the right amount of spectrum is allocated to V2X services. We need the right amount of bandwidth for the V2X applications. Coexistence that has to be evaluated not only in terms of technical aspects, but also from the perspective of market needs. And finally, I want to say that in order to have an IoT ecosystem which promotes full competition and innovation, it is very important that all the players in this ecosystem commit to provide direct licenses to standard essential patents in a fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory manner. So this is something that has been seen over the years. It's necessary to let all the people to contribute with this ecosystem. And that's all from my side.